Howdy folks, welcome to Retsutalk episode 60. A new milestone. We did it, Slow Beef. 60 episodes.
Wow, amazing. We have something really
Right?
special lined up too. I guess.
We do?
I guess. We're gonna, we have a special guest with us.
Why don't we just hit the ground running with our hottest topic?
Would you want to introduce our guest yet? Or?
Yeah, come on.
That's what I was going to do.
Oh, okay, that's our hottest topic.
I was trying to get this elaborate intro going, and you fucked it up.
You know, maybe you should plan things better, because that's ridiculous.
Yeah, this is really rude.
I need to have. I did, in fact, prepare a 5-point outline for this podcast. I'll have you know.
All right.
Starting with Shadow of Destiny.
Dun dun dun.
Nah.
Yikes.
Which is a game that our guest today recommended for us a long time ago, and we'd only just gotten to it recently. And we have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
And this guest is such an expert that her namesake is after the main character of Shadow of Destiny. Welcome, Ike.
Hi, what's up? I'm Mike.
Ike with a 1 instead of an I, though.
Yeah.
To be different.
It's basically a one. It's a standing thing.
But you gave us permission to also call you Hannah in case things get confusing when we actually talk about the character Ike versus you.
Yeah, just call me Hannah for the sake of clarity.
Can I imagine you?
Do you roleplay as Ike frequently? Is that the deal?
Yeah, definitely.
Can I imagine you as Ike?
Yeah, you
So,
can.
Oh, that's great.
I don't
Perfect.
have long hair, but I mean...
We'll just pretend.
Yeah, so anytime we ask you a question, take at least like 5 to 10 seconds before you actually answer, and then your answer is like, did you just ask me that question?
Yeah, I can do that.
Great.
What?
This is going swimmingly then. I'm also playing Spelunky for no damn reason while we're doing this.
It's really unprofessional.
So, Hannah, Shadow of Destiny is a game you seem to like in an unironic sense. Would that be accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of ironic, but it's also, I do genuinely enjoy it.
Well, I mean, I think you can do both. Like, you can say, like, there's silly parts of it that are funny to laugh at or whatever, but still like it as a broader sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, I think it's kind of silly.
I think some of those early era PS2 / late PS1 games have some kind of irresistible charm to them
Yeah, some of them.
in their goofiness and weirdness.
Yeah, especially that game.
Yeah, it is ambitious because, I mean, I sort of have this theory, and I'm sure we'll get into it, that, like, time travel stories, they actually, I don't think any of them really work at all, but, not at all, I shouldn't say like that, but there's, like, kind of no way to do it without introducing plot holes and such. But that said, they're very ambitious to write, and they're very hard to do so I do have to give the game props for, like, you know, keeping as consistent as I think you can be with a time travel story, you know?
Yeah, it's really hard to do time travel stories if you've ever read sci-fi or written sci-fi even. You have to think in like loops of logic.
Right, yeah.
You also have to adopt certain rules. Like in different fiction, there's different rules about how time travel works, like timelines split or fork, or timelines get murky or butterfly effects.
Right.
So you have to identify a certain set of rules and then stick with them, which I don't think Shadow of Destiny quite did that part.
It kind of does.
Oh, can I tell you my theory about it and the short version before, like, because it's that so time travel stories you tend to have like you have a lot of general sort of categories for how the rule sets work, you know, and like Shadow of the Destiny seems to have multiple of the ones we're used to, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you have, like, kind of the notion, you tell me if I'm wrong here, or, like, because you know the most about this game, but, like, the notion that you can't quite change history, like, there's, like, the lost kind of theory of it, you know? But then you also have, like, sort of the, this is the way it always was type of thing, where timelines get overwritten, and then you do also have the bifurcation thing, where, you know, it's like you create an alternate history, you know, that's separate from the other. I mean, I can go on for hours about this, because I'm long-winded, but,
And please do.
I mean, well, let me ask you this: if you want to help us broker a discussion about Shadow of Destiny here, what do you think's a good starting point? What do you think we should talk about first? Like the broader plot, or?
Probably the broader plot, because then it like branches off into the 8 different endings.
Okay, so tell us what the broader plot is. Because I know. Slow Beef knows. I mean, we're down, but maybe you, Hannah, can explain for the idiots listening who don't really know what the hell happened in the game even after watching it.
Well, so what are your questions? Like, I'm trying to think of a way to answer.
Let me all right, let me start with this, because I'm going to tell you there were a couple of times in this game where I really felt like I had a grasp of the story and then it would throw me for a loop. But I just want to clear up a couple of things about maybe the specifically ending D and ending EX1, which no, I mean, if you don't remember, so
Are we talking about a legal document now?
we are. But
Okay.
canonically speaking, and for the record, of course, this is Shadow of Destiny spoilers if you haven't watched the long play or played the game.
I think even if you get spoiled, you can't get spoiled in the game.
But
Makes no
canonically, Ike is Dr. Wagner. I know it's really Wagner or
Yeah.
whatever, but yeah, that is like that's not like an alternate history thing. Like it really is him.
No, that's him. Yeah, he was always Wagner.
Exactly.
From the very beginning. Okay.
From the very beginning, right? And then so in EX1, which I guess I kind of consider maybe the quote-unquote true ending, if there ever could be one, and that's just my own personal, by the way. I don't
Remind me which ending that was.
That is when Ike goes back.
That the New Game Plus thing?
Yeah, he knows stuff.
Yeah, he knows everything.
Okay.
He goes back. He uses a piece of the Philosopher's Stone to resurrect.
Homunculus.
No,
Oh, no.
I'm sorry, not resurrect. To heal the wife,
Helena.
the mother. Helena, thank you. So he does that, and that way, and then what happens basically is the entire story of the game never really existed anymore, which is why he disappears,
Right.
and he gets to live like. And then the thing I was going to
And
mention
why he
is,
plays soccer with that kid. Yeah.
right. Well, that's it. And the thing I didn't get, but I think I did come up with later, which other people on YouTube seem to agree, is that the Ike and Hugo you see at the end of the EX endings are actually like the real descendants of Dr. Wagner. They're not actually the Ike and Hugo we've been seeing in the story. Do you think that's fair? Or
Yeah, that's it. It uses like anime genetics. Like, they look exactly like Hugo and Ike. They just have different clothing, which is weird.
That's how genetics worked, yeah.
Yeah, it's a case of anime genetics.
Yeah, because it's also a kind of consistent thing through the game where you see like other descendants in the. I can't think of the name of the town right now. It's like
Lebensbaum. It means life tree.
Right. Yeah, because like through the whole game, like in different time periods, like the descendants of like the townspeople look exactly like their ancestors and things like that, pretty much.
In a copy-paste sense.
Yes. And they're extremely ugly. Jesus Christ.
They are. It's a very unique art style they went with.
It's like completely separate from the characters though, like the main characters. It's just
Are,
like
are bug eyes part of anime genetics?
yeah.
Well, actually, I don't know how much anime you've watched, Vetus, but they are.
Yeah, if you've ever seen Air, that's pretty terrible.
Have you ever seen anime?
Yeah, any anime.
Right. So let me try to throw this theory out here and tell me where I'm wrong, okay? The central sort of plot device, or I guess the central conflict of the game, is this is like sort of a fight in a sense between Hugo and Homunculus, with Ike as sort of the pawn. And the idea is Hugo's basically, maybe unwittingly, trying to unmake Homunculus in order so that his father never leaves or his mother never dies or something to that effect. And Homunculus is trying to secure his own existence by, having Wagner more or less create him in a time loop with Ike.
Right.
Well, Hugo wants to bring his mom back, right? Not keep her from dying necessarily, but to resurrect her with the Philosopher's Stone.
I think that's just a consequence of her actually dying. I think if he could have like kept her alive, he probably wouldn't want to resurrect her. That's just what I would say. The thing is, I don't really think it's a fight between Hugo and Homunculus, because that's just something like a consequence of what happened. It's really just like a loop so that Homunculus can come to be, because the Philosopher's Stone is like it's like an egg, kind of. Like, Homunculus is in that. He
Right.
didn't come from whatever Wagner did.
Mm-hmm.
Hugo is just like a side effect, because Hugo saw Ike and he started like wanting to get revenge on Ike, and he saw too much. Like, Ike was stupid.
Yeah. Which is kind of a running theme, I find.
That's the only plot point I understand so far that I can.
There's
follow
actually a plot reason for that too, why he's so stupid.
Really?
Well, yeah,
Really?
he has no memory. He's like a baby child. He doesn't know anything.
So, like, yeah, that's the thing, because someone mentioned that he has, because when he asks,
You're mad about being trapped several thousand years in the past?
whatever.
What's your problem?
Look, he's socially
Oh, that's
awkward.
just Ike. He's just kind of stupid.
Oh, Dana,
Yeah, get over it.
You're always so mad about the silliest things.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, so basically what happens is, I guess, Wagner gets Ike, or excuse me, makes Homunculus via the Philosopher's Stone. It's hard to place Spelunky to talk about this. He makes Homunculus unwittingly via the Philosopher's Stone. He was thinking it was part of alchemy, but he actually sort of undid a genie.
Right.
He asks for youth so he can reset his life, but there's always a twist, and he has a pen. Well, I'll ask about that in a second here. But the twist is he has like this recurring amnesia, basically, so he'll never remember who he was after, I guess, the span of maybe 20 or so years, or whatever the time period is.
Right.
Okay. Let me ask you this, though, in Ending D, because I don't understand this. Okay. If Wagner had done this unwittingly and didn't know about Homunculus, how did he have a pentagram ready to try to trap him?
I don't know about that. Like, he just somewhat... I don't even know. Like, they kind of hint at it because it's on the front of the digipad and stuff like that. I think it might be something that they cut out of the long play, because...
I see.
And to be fair, you never know when you might need one.
It's true.
This is true.
I carry one in my back pocket all the time.
I'm sitting on one right now just in case this doesn't go well.
One theory, I mean, this is just like fan fiction on my part, of course,
Gross.
because I love fan... No.
Go on.
Disgusting.
Is that there is a time loop or a line we don't get to see where it's possible that Ike actually did make a pentagram for Wagner to, like, try to trap Homunculus.
That's such a weird thing to write fan fiction about. Like, most people write fan fiction about, like, fucking their main character or something like that.
I didn't really write fan fiction, though. I just said that.
And you're putting a certain level of intelligence on Ike that I don't think exists.
Well, yeah, Ike gets to try this, like, a few times, sort of, right? He has a weird sort of thing because... as part of the game mechanic, time moves in the present even when he's in the past, which gives him sort of a time limit as to how long he can stay in the past before his present self is going to get killed.
Right.
Which, I guess, to be fair, as much as we laughed at him leaving Dana in the past, and that is very funny.
Yeah, he didn't really care.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit. But I guess to be completely fair to him, he might not actually have time to do all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like, he might have to leave her.
Right.
Wait, have had...
The digipad does give him very limited options.
Yeah.
Well, that's...
I think it's Homunculus' fault for that, too, actually, because it's kind of like a beeper, in a sense. Like, Homunculus is like, just get out of there, please. He, like, makes the thing start beeping, or it goes green. And Ike has to get out of there. He can't control where he goes. Let me re-say that. He can't control where he goes because, like, it's decided by Homunculus. That's why he just shows up in certain places, and it's like, why are you there? He doesn't really have a choice.
So really, like, when he goes back 400 years to do the trade, this is kind of the best he can do, given the fact that he's 400 years in the past.
Yeah, he kind of just stumbles in there. I don't think he really knew he was supposed to do the tree thing, but he's like, okay, I need to change something.
Right. So it might as well try to plant the tree.
So the simplest solution.
So the thing is, I think the story is and it can't really be helped per se, but the story is a little hindered by the fact that the gameplay puzzles are really out there.
Yeah.
You know, it's because, like, I really don't see how, if in a couple of the murders, getting more people around so the assassin can't do it privately solves the puzzle, but in other instances, it's like, you know what I mean? Like, especially with the tree, it doesn't really matter that Dana's right there seeing Ike get stabbed. He still does it, you know?
Yeah, and, like, in the EX ending, like, there's just a juggler and Ike, and it doesn't seem to matter.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah! Right. And then another thing, by the way, is that I don't remember this, someone said Homunculus does make mention of this, that it's got the time cop rule that you can't touch your past self.
Right.
Which is why Juggler Ike has to throw that message, even though he could also just tell him, like Hugo tells his older self.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous, but Ike doesn't like conversation, I guess.
I guess so.
He's not a communicator.
Even with himself.
Yeah.
I want to get into some more confusing stuff, but, like, I don't know, Beatus, if you have any other questions, or Hannah, if you have anything you want to clarify before we get to the really nitty-gritty crap that I don't understand at all.
Well, you go first, Beatus.
No, I'm good. It's only gonna get worse from here.
Oh, that's terrible. Okay, we could go on to more confusing stuff if you want then.
Tell me what the hell is going on with Hugo's time machine.
Um, well, what do you mean?
Okay, so
What did he spend so much time doing?
Making a time machine?
Well, I mean, no, he appears as a super old man, so he made the machine, went somewhere, then dicked around for several decades.
I think he got like lost trying to follow Ike because he can't go anywhere Ike isn't going. So if he had to wait around for Ike to do his thing, then he would be waiting for a while.
okay.
But I think he spends a lot of the time like making the time machine, honestly.
So basically, he spends his life making it. So maybe I'm just asking here because I have no idea. He's maybe spends his life remaking the time machine from his father's notes, and then as an old man goes back to give himself the time machine
Right.
as a young man. But his time machine can only go where Ike is, which is how he's able to do that. Though he's still surprised Ike is actually there when he does it in ending C, I think. That's the one where the Hugos touch themselves and are like that it exists.
Oh, right. That was really ridiculous looking.
But the basic idea I'm getting at is the reason old Hugo is there because there is a timeline, or was a timeline, where Hugo didn't do any time travel until the end of his life when he's older, and then he travels back to give himself a younger one to create a new timeline where young Hugo is able to travel through time, although it can only chase Ike's digipad.
It might be oversight, like either she wrote it, she as in like Junko Kawano.
Yeah.
Kawano. There we go.
Yes.
Junko Kawano. I cannot pronounce that. Anyways, I think she looked maybe something. Oh god, I can already feel the comments exploding just because I said that. Hugo might not know in the other timelines that he's not supposed to touch himself.
Right.
I'm sorry. Okay.
You'd think back then.
That's kind of a general rule, though, not just for time travel. That makes you go blind, I hear.
Oh boy.
See, this is what happened to Helena, actually. That's why she's blind. But,
That's terrible.
it's not terrible. What? It's,
She died.
That's true.
I mean-
well, not from that, I think.
That's what you get for being a sinner.
Well, they were flogging Margaret at the beginning. Actually, they only showed it in the EX ending for the long play, I think.
Oh, when they're,
Till you stop that with your lighter or phone.
Well, no, they locked her up for having a dress that was showing off.
But isn't there another person who's locked up there?
Yeah.
That they don't really get into?
Actually, I'm pretty sure. You know that girl at the beginning that looks really weird and she has a flower on her head and green makeup?
Yeah.
That's her descendant. So I guess she just has a thing of dressing really weirdly.
See, I had a theory it might have been Dana, but,
Nah.
nah.
She's got long hair in it.
Oh, okay.
I've looked at this.
Okay, let me ask you this too. Does Hugo or does Homunculus actually switch Dana and Margaret? Because I've heard a theory that that's a lie. It doesn't matter. The thing is that it actually doesn't matter that Hugo's trying to wipe out either of them because it's not really their descendant at all because he's Wagner. But so is Dana really Margaret and Margaret Dana, or is that just BS and they're who they say they are?
As far as I'm concerned, they're switched. Margaret is meant to be Dana, and Dana is meant to be Margaret, and
Right.
they show that in ending A with Margaret.
And it kind of makes more sense given too Margaret's kind of interested in the future, although to be fair, who wouldn't be? And then Dana seems more at home in the past when you go to visit her,
Yeah.
how she's initially not mad at Ike for sending her back,
Yeah.
even though she has every fucking right to be in the world.
Yeah, so Margaret heard about the museums, was I want to be there right now.
I know, that's the one thing Ike tells her about the future. That's awesome.
Well, what else would he have to talk about? That really crappy cafe where he left his crap, and
Cars that run you over?
I felt
The
so
phone?
bad for Dana in that part, because it always seems like she's please don't be dead, Ike. I don't want to deal with another dead body. Just right at the beginning.
But, okay, so yeah, I agree. I think that Dana and Margaret really are switched by Homunculus. But then the thing is, though, if Homunculus is really Wagner, or excuse me, if Homunculus knows Ike is really Wagner, then what's the point in switching them?
Might be motivation. I'm not really sure. I haven't really thought about that. I should have probably.
Because I mean, no, that's okay. Because correct me if I'm wrong here, but there isn't any point really where Homunculus doesn't know that Ike is Wagner. Like, there's points in the timeline where he just meets Ike, I guess, or whatever, but he should always know that technically, because from his inception, you know.
Well, the first time you're right, he should, but I remember, like, the first time he saw Ike, like, when he first saw him, not, like, when Ike first saw him. He was kind of confused, like, who are you?
Well, then that makes you wonder too, is if Shadows of Destiny plays with the bifurcation part of like time travel, where there might be like alternate timelines going on. Because Homunculus does mention that at one point too. He's like, I traveled to. I think he said like I traveled to a couple of histories or whatever to see like about your. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I think he says that.
You see different versions of Homunculus too.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like Homunculus at different levels of being acquainted with who Ike is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like the first time Homunculus actually meets Ike.
Right. I mean, to give, what was her name?
Junko Kuwana?
Kuwana. To give Kuwana some credit, that's like a really ambitious time travel story.
Oh, crap.
To involve...
Kuwano, sorry.
Kuwano. It's really ambitious, though, to have a time travel story with, like, 3 separate time travelers, you know? Usually you have one, and that's, like, enough complication as is.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for her because she did like something really ambitious and difficult.
Well, I mean, it's her own damn fault.
Yeah,
too.
how dare she?
But it's true, right? Because I mean, time travel stories in general, I think, unless the only way they really work, I think, is when they're not serious at all, like when you do like a Back to the Future kind of thing. Because then it's like, well, who really cares? Because even that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like,
well, the funny thing is, there's somebody that's gonna care, and like they study it with their entire life.
oh yeah, like you know, Cracked. They have like 8 articles on Back to the Future and like videos and stuff. Like someone there has really thought through Back to the Future.
Well, they get paid for that, so they're like, well, how can I milk this? Man, I sound like embittered against the world.
You do. You sound like you hate Cracked for some reason.
Well,
but that's okay. Who cares?
Clickbait.
Clickbait. But like, no, but like even in Back to the Future, right? So you have Marty McFly goes back and does all this stuff, and everything seems okay. But then years later, his parents have a kid who looks exactly like the person they knew as Calvin Klein from the 80s.
Yes.
And nobody ever seems to question that or really give a shit.
I've heard people care, but I kind of just don't listen to them.
Right.
It's hard to take that seriously.
Well, so this kind of like to tie pop culture into Shadows of Destiny, because you have this sort of like big paradox in it, which I think a lot of time travel stories do, where like, so Homunculus is created because Ike is able to time travel back and give himself technically the Philosopher's Stone to create him, but he wouldn't have done that without Homunculus having existed in the first place, right?
Oh, right. I mean, Homunculus never stopped existing. It's just he was in the Philosopher's Stone.
Right. But there is sort of like a point, you think, where it's like Homunculus technically didn't. What am I trying to get at?
He didn't have to do it per se.
Well, there's a point where he wasn't, like created, like he was around in the Philosopher's Stone, but there was a point where Wagner unsealed him.
Right.
So prior to that, there's no Homunculus per se, the character. I mean. Right. So in order to have created that, Wagner needs the Philosopher's Stone, but he only gets it from Ike, and Ike only gets it because Homunculus was around to begin with. So you end up with, like... So, I guess to try and make this clearer, if I can, so typically you have cause A and effect B, and A creates B. But in a lot of time travel stories, you get this sort of double cycle, where A causes B, but B also causes A.
Right.
And, like, the silliest example is, like, do you ever see the Terminator, the first Terminator movie?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like the humans send back Kyle Reese to protect Sarah Connor so she can give birth to John Connor, who's the leader of the Resistance. But then he has sex with Linda Hamilton for pretty much no great reason and ends up being John Connor's father, which then brings in that, like, sort of paradox of, like, well, wait, then John Connor would never have been born if nobody had sent somebody back to protect Sarah Connor, his mother,
Right, it's really messy.
Exactly, yeah. You have anything to add to that, Beatus?
Well, it just begs the question, why was there not a Terminator in Shadow of Destiny?
There should have been. How great... Oh, man, Shadow of Destiny versus Terminator.
Or, like, you have that kind of transporter thing, like in Terminator 2, when Arnold slowly rises up from the ground. What if it was that, but it was Ike?
Go right, Konami.
That wouldn't be as intimidating, I guess.
I have a fun thought experiment for stuff like Terminator and these doubly linked cycles in general, because I think that's one of the big problems with like time travel. So that's one of the time travel categories I think is like the always was kind of theory, where it's like you have these doubly linked events, and then like once they're in the timeline, they overwrite with whatever was there originally, and they're just always the way it was from now on. If that makes sense, you know?
Right.
Like, it no longer matters at one point if Kyle Reese's father, John Connor, or not. The fact is, he is John Connor's father, and he's also going to be in the future somehow to protect him later, and then father him. And then, like, similarly, like, it doesn't matter how Wagner got the Philosopher's Stone, even if Ike gave it to him. It's just, there's a time loop now, and now that's just how it has to happen.
What I'm thinking is, like, this might have been going on for a long time, like, before we actually started playing the game. Like, Homunculus, he dies in, like, the first ending and the second ending and stuff like that. He's experienced dying because of Ike being stupid, but anyways.
I see.
So I'm thinking, like, Homunculus has experienced it so many times that he's trying to... Like, something happened and he got stuck with it because that ended up with him coming to be. So, like, something happened with Wagner and he, like, Homunculus came to be, and because of Ike. So it's like he got stuck with having to continue that cycle, even though it seems kind of silly.
Right. So, like, the thing I was thinking of, like, there's maybe this notion of an Inception timeline, and I don't mean the movie, unless you want to talk about the movie, in which case, okay.
We could.
No, but you have some temporary event C, which causes the A-B cycle to happen, so, like, in Terminator Tombs, maybe there isn't a John Connor at all, and the humans send Kyle Reese back for some other reason. Maybe to stop Skynet in general, but he ends up fathering John Connor, who then becomes a leader of the Resistance and beats Skynet in the future. So the Terminators try to send somebody back. Now John Connor sends Kyle Reese back to cause this timeline to happen. And Event C, that started this whole thing, never happens anymore. It's gone from the timeline. It's dead. You know? So likewise, maybe there's something in Shadow of Destiny. Some way Homunculus got created, and in order to secure his own future, he had to have Wagner create himself again. If that makes, you know what I mean? Like, go back in time with Ike and recreate himself.
Right, that's what I'm thinking too. Like, something happened and it resulted in him coming to be. And he just got stuck with it, even though it might seem silly.
Mm-hmm.
Just, that's the only way he could
there's
be.
one thing you're not considering, though.
What is it?
What's that?
There's one thing you're not considering. Who heard Charles Martinet in Mario 64 and thought he'd be good to voice our weird time demon?
It was like in 2001. I wonder. Maybe he wasn't, like, sure about his job.
Well, you know, I know people will get mad at me, but I don't think voice actor for Mario is as secure a job as you might think it is.
Not at first, especially.
Well, like, if your agent's really like, we want $100,000 to, you know, have...
To say about 4 or 5 things.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't see Nintendo having a problem with, I think we can find someone else. You know, this isn't a David Hayter, Kiefer Sutherland thing exactly.
I actually watched the interview of him because I wanted to hear how he speaks normally. Because it was, like, bothering me, like, how does Homunculus sound like Mario? It's just really weird.
And he somehow sounds exactly like Homunculus. It's his natural voice.
Yeah,
kind of weird with that layer thing he has going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But he actually, like, talks about that, like, Nintendo is really, like, he's exclusively Mario now. But I think might have back then, like, he might not have had a secure job because, like, they didn't have that many 3D games at that point with Mario.
Oh, okay.
And that's where they actually used the voice acting and stuff like that.
I see.
So now he's, like, on what's the new Wii game? Crap. The Wii U game.
3D World?
Yeah, Mario World. He voiced for that, too.
Well, my apologies then. I figured they wouldn't have a problem with just being like, yeah, no one's gonna notice, forget it. But,
disrespectful.
You know, Nintendo is really disrespectful.
Do you think he said wahoo when he signed his contract?
I think he did the backflip, but he didn't say it because he wasn't getting paid.
Okay. Gets paid by the noise.
Right.
He does.
But you also get the sort of interesting notion in of time trying to return to some, like, kind of normal state, I guess, for lack of a better term, in it, where like things are trying to go back. So like, Hugo switches Dana and Margaret, but they happen to get back to where they were, and it's sort of because like you can't change destiny is the idea.
Yeah, I'm thinking that's the idea.
If you like the I never saw this movie, but the Butterfly Effect, as I understand it, is really all about that. And even though they're not time travel movies, like the Final Destination series is also pretty much all about that. Of like that you kind of can't change fate. Lost plays with it too, actually.
Right.
Where you have this like notion of if you try to change time, then it's almost like you're not allowed to, or the universe is going to try to fix itself in a way.
Yeah, a smoke monster will attack you. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually the secret enemy of Shadow of Destiny.
But that's the weird thing about Shadow of Destiny, because like thematically it's almost like a paradox in a way, because it's like you can't change destiny, yet that's the point of the entire game.
Yeah.
Let's give it the old college try at least.
Well, I mean, he doesn't do a terrible job of changing destiny, I suppose.
Would you really say it's Ike that's doing it? It's more of Homunculus like telling Ike to do stuff.
This is true.
Homunculus is the real winner.
I sent you here, now figure it out.
Oh, I got one. I think this is an out and out plot hole with Shadow of Destiny. I don't think you can fix this one.
What is it?
Okay. Hugo can only follow Ike's time machine.
Right.
How does he stab him in the first scene?
Ike time travels to the beginning. Ike actually, you had the issue of Ike like being so young and like he would have to exist for so long. Homunculus actually sent Ike to that point in time, and Ike lived on from that point. So when he teleported to like that time, his present day, Hugo was able to follow him.
But doesn't Hugo need to have Ike appear to him first for the impetus to make him make the time machine in the first place?
No, that's just something that's going to happen no matter what. It's a loop. Like, because Ike did this and he's at this time period, he ends up doing all the other stuff.
But so what I thought was happening was, so Dr. Wagner receives the Philosopher's Stone from Ike.
Right.
Right? In, I think it's 1580? And then makes Homunculus in whatever year after that, possibly 1584 or 82, I kind of forget. But anyway, asks to be young, gets the amnesia thing, and then I thought he just lived for about 420 years then. And then the Ikush we see is a 420-year-old Wagner. Or 450, whatever, however.
I mean, that could be possible, but I think this explains why Hugo's able to stab Ike. It also explains, like, why Ike is, like, he doesn't remember anything at all.
Right, okay. Yeah, because then the only other explanation, which I saw on Wikipedia, would be a repeating amnesia thing. But you think but, yeah, I guess yours ties it up more neatly, where he's actually, like, sent there by Homunculus. Because then Hugo could follow him and stab him and such.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of that would, like, fix that.
Right, and then technically by sending him there, Homunculus is, in a way, setting the course of events such that, young Ike will get the Philosopher's Stone to him, past Wagner.
Right. It's always going to happen.
Okay.
That's why it's kind of, like, messy to think about, because you have to, like, realize it doesn't work.
Period.
How, like, normal events work. Something could already happen, because, yeah, period. Because it starts in, like, whatever, 2001, and that's where everything starts, but then it goes back to 1850, and he changes that. So it's like stuff happens at the same time, even though he hasn't done it yet. It's weird.
Right.
Time travel.
No, yeah. Well, do you think it works?
Yeah, I mean, the explanation of him, like, being time traveled to that point explains the Hugo thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean more like, I'm maybe not, I don't know, maybe even I would think the nitty-gritty details kind of, like, throw probably a wrench in the works, but you think, like, the broader story of Shadow of Destiny works, ultimately?
Yeah, I think it does. It's just, like, messy. There's some stuff that could have gotten, like, expanded upon. It would have, like, made it even better, but I think she did a pretty good job of covering her ground.
Right, especially with the drunk driver.
Yes, I love that part.
They tied everything together, really.
Did you know the drunk driver is, like, that they keep reappearing in, like, the game? Like, at the beginning, he's eating spaghetti.
Oh yeah, the guy at the
I
restaurant.
hate that dude so much. He keeps screwing up my recordings.
Why?
What?
Because he has his own separate audio track, and the game has to play it along with 3 other ones. And
He
it
was
just...
the highest paid voice actor.
Exactly. All he does is a stupid slurp. It makes me so freaking mad. I hate
Can
him.
you can you maybe just add that in post?
I was thinking of it. But it like slows down the entire scene. Just because of him.
Add your own slurping sound. To make up for it.
I'll do all the voice acting.
I would, because I don't think you have to go for super accuracy with a slurp, honestly. I mean...
Well, no, it's just like because he's there.
The slurp would sound different depending on what Ike has done in various time
Exactly.
periods, though.
I don't want to mess up the timeline.
Would the spaghetti have existed if...
Exactly.
Would the spaghetti have hit his nose coming into his mouth if Ike had not chopped down the tree?
It is an like he interrupts their conversation with Dana. It's awkward. It's all his fault, really.
Really, it is. And then he kills Ike later because he's a drunk driver. But,
Yeah.
let me, who poisons Ike in, the 5th chapter, I think it is? When he has to go back and get the...
I'm not really entirely sure. I think it's Hugo still. Like Hugo set it up, but Hugo's not the one that poisoned. Like,
It's a woman, right?
yeah. I think Hugo might have planted the poison inside of like a seasoning or something that they put on it.
But doesn't she, like, put it on...
Yeah,
while,
she puts it on there, and it's weird, but
like while he's bringing it to Ike's table?
but it's like Parmesan looking. So maybe she put Parmesan.
Like in Ratatouille, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Parmesan.
That's the only one I couldn't think of how to explain. Like either Hugo is dressed up in drag or
Right. Or... Yeah, because it couldn't... If I remember, it kind of looks like Dana, but not really.
yeah,
Maybe it's a
vaguely.
very open-minded restaurant. Hugo gave it to a waitress. It's like, you really gotta try this stuff. Your customers are gonna love it.
With how Ike acts, I wouldn't put it past the writing.
Right. Or maybe it's not even a time travel. Maybe he's just coincidentally poisoned by someone who's crazy.
No, it has
Like,
to
it
be
just had
someone.
nothing to do with the broader plot.
No, it has to be somebody from
Somebody
the
likes
past.
poisoning random restaurant customers.
Yeah, that too. But no, it has to be from the past because of it's the horsey
Oh,
hair,
that's right. The sea salt, or the... I know what you're talking
which
about.
is why it has
It's-
to be Hugo that's doing it. Messy,
Oh,
messy.
right. So, and Hugo specifically. But in some cases, it's Hugo doing the killing, but in others, it's actually Eckert, right?
Yeah, Eckert is like he pushes him off the roof and he which is the funniest scene. I'm sorry. It's really morbid to find that funny. Well, I mean,
No,
it's hard to call it morbid because it's this game.
it's
It's so silly looking.
Yeah, it looks really silly. He's just like, ah, and he hits the ground and he's just like, oh god, somebody's gonna have to clean that up.
Well, what's completely ridiculous too, though, is like there's so many deaths that could have been averted if he had just turned around.
Yeah.
Or vaguely paid attention.
Yeah, but then that wouldn't be any fun.
No, I'll grant you, but it's like you think we have like...
Then we wouldn't have a frying pan situation.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, like, you have a game like Day of the Tentacle that uses the time travel pretty directly in order to solve some puzzles, whereas Shadow of Destiny uses pretty obtusely.
Yeah, I don't really like the solutions for...
Right. Like, they're just a little weird, because there's a lot of stuff that really... You don't actually need time travel to solve, you just need the foreknowledge and you'd be set. But, you know, I can't have that for...
Or just be somewhere else.
Yeah, like, because the first puzzle, when you have to get the crowd of people so that Ike won't get stabbed by... I'm guessing...
The crowd of 2 people.
I was thinking that maybe it is Eckert, and he won't do it if there's people around, whereas Hugo doesn't care, which would explain why... Well, no, actually it wouldn't. I was going to say it would explain why the tree thing, it matters so much that there's people around, or doesn't matter so much that there's people around. I don't
I'm
know.
pretty sure that's Hugo again. Eckert,
Gotcha.
yeah, Eckert wouldn't have done that. That would have been too risky. He's like known.
Yeah. That's the thing.
He's also
Hugo,
old too.
It doesn't. By the way, doesn't Hugo worry that killing Margaret or leaving her there would kind of fuck with his own time?
Yeah.
Because as far as he knows, Margaret's his sister, right?
Right, and like if anybody wrote something down like Margaret is this and this, like their names are switched too, not just like who they are.
Right. Yeah. Which is what makes it very confusing to talk about them, basically.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
But yeah, like, for the purposes of this, though, by the way, I mean, I'm referring to Dana as Dana the waitress, who is actually Dana. It was
The blonde one?
Yeah, so she's really Hugo. Yeah, the blonde one, the waitress she really is Hugo's sister and Ike's daughter.
Right.
Really,
She's blonde.
which is also why she calls him dad and ending E or whatever.
Yeah,
it is.
I think that's ending A where she. Oh no, it was ending EX, I think.
Oh, okay.
But she's like dating him, and she's like, "Oh, you're like my cool dad. You're so with it," which is
Oh,
so
jeez.
stupid.
That's like the creepiest thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because they kind of imply that they are attracted to each other and such.
Yeah. No,
Right.
she does seem like the love interest of the game, more or less, Dana. At first, I
Yeah.
should say. But then Margaret sort of has that role in a way too. But
Margaret seems more of the love interest because she starts dating him in A, which is also really weird. But hey,
yeah, at least technically that's okay, even though I should know that should think that it's not okay.
Well, I
you know?
once thought you were my ancestor, but no.
Right.
well, he seemed attracted to her like even when he knew he shouldn't be. Like, I might be related to her.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. He says something.
Well, it's
that.
like
I
the
forgot.
different zip codes rule. Now it's just different time periods rule.
Wait, what is the different zip codes rule?
It ain't cheating if you're in a different zip code or
Yeah.
something. That's what people who travel to Vegas use to justify infidelity.
Terrible.
I thought it was like an Alabama thing. Like it's not really. It says that they live in a different time.
Well, I can't fuck you here, but if we go one county over.
You gotta live there. Is the thing. It's uncommon law.
Oh god, that's messed up.
Well, it is. The
If
South.
we have this family reunion in South Alabama,
Oh no.
then there ain't no rules.
Oh god.
Right, homunculus?
Oh god. Oh my god. I want a Shadow of Destiny that takes place in the South. Please make this a franchise.
Homunculus just backs away.
Hoot nanny of destiny, they call it.
I'm not touching this one. That's my homunculus impression.
Yeah, the babies are probably too heavy for him to carry.
Oh my god. Can I just throw in, by the way, I'm playing embarrassingly bad at Spelunky due to like talking about this at the same time. But anyway.
I'm sure you're bad at it anyways.
Yeah, we'll edit it and call it time travel. I'll just throw in like one of Psychedelic's runs and just call it a day.
It's a good idea.
God almighty. What else is there do we have to let's see. I have a lot of my questions answered because I was wondering about Hugo's time machine was the most confusing thing to me. I think about it. And then you also have Homunculus traveling through time, switching kids, who poisoned Ike.
Right.
I mean, I think that's a lot of the... Oh, what's with Eckert and the cats?
Isn't that cute? Okay, they kind of like imply this little sub-story thing that the cats might actually be like from the present, but also in the past. Like, because Ike ends up bringing Sibylla, a cat from the present, one of Eckert's cats.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a time loop thing. Like, the cat from the present is actually from the past, and the past cat resulted in the present cat.
That's kind of awesome.
I thought they were just really proud of their PS2 cat graphics and wanted to show them off.
They probably came up with it because of that. I wish they showed that scene because that scene is like amazing. It's just so stupid. It's like, wait, why are you giving a cat to a girl in the bat? No, stop that. Don't do that, Ike.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff he doesn't seem to get about about screwing with history and all that.
Yeah, he's an ignorant man.
But that's why we love him.
Yes, exactly. I don't think the story would be the same without him and his dopey voice actor. Speaking of, the PSP version has like new voices, and I don't like them at all. Like,
Oh yeah, I haven't heard them actually.
they're really bad.
Everybody's new?
Yeah, even like Homunculus was redubbed because I'm guessing they had issues with Charles Martinet.
Let's get Wario's voice actor instead.
No, actually,
that
it's
also
the same
Charles
as
Martinet?
yeah.
Is that all that's changed in the PSP version, the voice acting?
They also made it easier, which is weird. They added new characters.
How?
They made characters that tell you what to do. Yeah.
But it's an adventure game.
I know, but it's on the PSP, and they're like, this is too obtuse. We don't know what to do.
So someone says, you need to keep that tree from being planted.
Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure.
Oh my
Just directly
god.
tell you that.
Yeah, so it's disgusting.
If you give this movie producer inspiration, perhaps this car won't run you over. Ever think about that?
Yeah.
I love that part, actually.
That's so ridiculous. I forgot about that crap.
It's unfortunate, but there's like a few different scenes you can get, like depending on what you tell him.
Oh, that's cool.
And like the first movie poster is kind of like Metal Gear Solid looking, and then it becomes like lovey-dovey time travel through history thing, and that attracts all the girls who are like, oh yeah, I love this guy's films.
You're doing a let's play of this, right?
Yeah, I'm working on it slowly.
Oh, that's great. Well, yeah, it's a shame it's not here. We could plug it now, but oh well, we'll forget.
I'll work
No,
on
I'm
it.
You can
kidding.
plug your YouTube channel.
No,
True.
well, I mean, I could. It's a 3Zak. Hit me up. It's 3ZAK.
Yeah. We'll
Rolls
be
right
looking,
off the tongue.
we'll be looking for. I'll plug it again when the time comes too, because
When the time travel comes.
yeah, we did actually from what I've heard, the long player and again thanks to Cubic55 who lets us do this stuff. Did miss a few things apparently, which though is good for you because then it's like if people are like the retsupurae of it, at least now they have like an even more in-depth version coming.
Yeah, it was kind of like a speed run almost, it felt, which is weird to say for a game like that, but
Right? Yeah. No, there's a lot of little like details and things like
yeah,
that.
there's a lot of stuff you can get wrong, like the rope puzzle. That puzzle is
Mhm.
so annoying. Like you end up using the old rope and Ike dies, and then you have to figure
Wow.
out, okay, you have to go back to the past to get the new rope and bring it to the future. It's really annoying. And there's this puzzle that uses a what's it called? A ladder. And that's the most annoying one because you have to like take it from the past, I believe.
Yeah.
It's really annoying to find too.
The rope puzzle, I will say though, at least like kind of makes sense with the time travel involvement. Then
Yeah, that was pretty clever, but
Yeah.
it was still kind of tedious. It was like, oh god, I need a new rope. Why is there no rope here at all?
Right. It kind of reminds me of the wine vinegar puzzle from Day of the Tentacle.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of you ever played that.
Mm-mm.
I think.
That's Maniac Mansion 2, and
I've never played a video game, you know that.
right. But you play 3 different characters in the past, present, and future is the idea, and then like so the idea is like the characters can't travel through time, but the things they do affect the other character's environment. So one of them is like there's a time capsule in the past, and the idea is you need vinegar in the future for some reason, so someone's got to put wine in the capsule so that like 200 years later it becomes vinegar.
I've actually heard of that puzzle.
Yeah, it's pretty clever. I think Schaefer did Tim Schaefer did Day of the Tentacle, if I remember,
I
but
believe
I
so.
could be wrong.
I've been meaning to play that game.
I remember it being good. I haven't played it since I was younger.
Yeah, I've heard it's good.
Yeah. I didn't like the first Maniac Mansion, but then that's like an old adventure game, and those were like rarely ever good, so.
Yeah, you could just pump
Watch
it.
it, Slow Beef.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like,
Maniac Mansion is near and dear to many people's hearts.
Okay, it's true, but you have to, playing Maniac Mansion was tricky because you had these like seconds where you had these like pieces where you only had a couple seconds to do something before.
Yeah,
like,
it was
Edna
tricky like
came in
that,
and-
yeah.
Yeah, or characters would die and then you were just kind of screwed, or Bernard was far and away the best character.
That just
to
means
get,
you're really bad at video games. It has nothing to do with the video game. How dare you? Why would you insult my favorite video game? Disgusting.
There's nothing you can ever do.
Thanks again to our guest, YouTube commenters.
It's how did you put it the one time? It was like it's always funny until you make fun of my video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Please don't make fun of my favorite video games or TV shows. It really upsets me and it hurts my feelings.
Right.
I'm very insecure, Slow Beef, I'll have you know.
But Hannah, you love Shadows of Destiny, right?
Yeah, but
Like,
I make fun of it. Like, I laugh at it all the time. Well, not
Until
all
we
the time.
shout all over it.
I don't just sit there and laugh to myself like, oh, that was really stupid. But I mean, whenever the topic comes up, it's funny to me.
No, absolutely.
Because, like, the writing is
Destiny was pretty
weird.
lauded when it came out by the critics.
Yeah, I think it has a pretty good story. I mean, people kind of shit on it, but
Right.
I don't think it's really that bad. It has some issues, like, with weird logic and anime genetics and stuff like that. But
It's innovative for
Yeah.
Well,
its time.
I mean, the thing too is like a lot of times video game stories like they tend to just sometimes they're just not there at all, So
exactly.
like seeing a game with like a somewhat complex story, is you kind of get like a bonus there because it's like it's just so rare to actually see,
Yeah, I think Junko Kwano was, like, struggling with gameplay. Because,
Mhm.
not just because there's, like, no gameplay, but because, like, she just seemed to have trouble writing gameplay, which would explain why the puzzles are so, like, obtuse and weird.
Mhm.
She has another game called Time Hollow on the DS.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
That's a visual novel. It has, like, not
Wow.
many, not much gameplay to it at all.
Right.
and it has really bad localization, like the worst localization ever. They decide that
Oh, I've heard.
it's so bad. Like they decide to name the freaking cat Socks with an X, and
Ugh.
then the main character is his name is like something Kairos.
Keith,
Yeah,
right?
Keith Kairos or something like that. And it's disgusting because it's just so bad. It's bad naming. And all the names have to mean something because it's something related to the plot too. So it's like, just, just,
Uh,
just shoot me, please. This is so bad. You could have kept the Japanese names.
so like they in the original, his name is like Keith Chan, or they call him Keith Chan because of the whole honorifics thing,
Oh
and
yeah,
they try to localize that with a nickname, but Keith doesn't have many nicknames, so they call him Eth.
yeah. Like, oh yeah, no, his name is Ethan Kairos.
Oh, it is
But
okay.
yeah, they call him
Let's
Eth for some
What?
reason. I was guessing that was they're having issues with honorifics.
yeah. You know about like the whole Chan thing, Beatus? You must, right?
4chan.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, of course you did. Sure, yeah, I think I've heard of that. No, no. I was gonna say,
I
but like,
do ask people to call me Beatus Chan.
but it's like one way you can localize that is with a nickname. Like, so, like in Phoenix Wright, like, what do they call him? Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, which isn't so bad, but because it's like, you know, like if you call someone a nickname, it's a little less formal. It shows you kind of know them. It kind of covers that Chan thing. But like, yeah, Ethan doesn't have a lot of great nicknames, so Eth.
They should have picked a better name for him, because, like, in Japanese, his name is Horo Tokyo.
Oh, so
Yeah,
I've
and
heard
his mom's name was changed to Pamela, and his dad's name was changed to Timothy Kairos. What the hell? Is, like, Timothy is Wataru Tokyo, and what's Pamela's name? Let's see, Aki Tokyo. So, like, they have decent names. It's just, why Pamela? Why Timothy? Why Ethan? Why Socks? Why is he named Socks?
Socks?
Yeah, Socks. S-O-X.
Is that short for Socrates?
No, it's the cat.
I wish it was.
Hey, Socks, you want to philosophize or what?
God.
It actually has to do with sports, is the thing.
Okay.
But,
But yeah, the game takes place in Japan, but I guess when they brought it to the US, they're like, we can't have Japanese video games. This is in America,
yeah,
okay? Because, like,
yeah, there's no video games with Japanese named characters. I mean, that'd be ridiculous.
Mhm.
No one would buy that.
yeah, because they had, like, food and stuff, and they had to, like, change it so it was Japanese sounding. And it's just like, no, just stop struggling. It's okay. We can adapt to culture. Phoenix Wright suffered with that, too.
Yeah, Phoenix Wright wasn't like super crazy with that. Like the rice balls are hamburgers for no great reason. But then like you go to an old Japanese village, but you're supposed to be in like California,
Yeah.
so it's like what, you know?
Yeah, they ended up.
Yeah, well, it's like your partner's a spirit medium, and it's like nobody questions what that is or why that's. You know what I mean? Like she's just sort of a psychic, I guess.
Or the way
but-
she's dressed. Very traditional
Right.
Japanese clothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's kind of funny because they kind of backtrack on that in like later games. They're like, well, this is supposed to be noodles, but Maya likes hamburgers, but we aren't gonna make new art. Okay, she likes noodles too. Okay, that's cool.
You never played the Phoenix Wrights, right? The Vetus?
No, I have not.
You should. They're really good.
They are really good. Yeah.
I didn't like the third one because it got way too into like they'd kind of play with supernatural stuff with like the psychic stuff, and I thought it was okay because it kind of tied into the lawyery stuff. Like you could see like a witness was hiding something, you know, which
Yeah.
is like all right, that's not too bad. But then there's like an actual ghost in the courtroom at one point, and it's like okay, that's you've ruined it for me, you know. But
Yeah, it kind of was hard to like struggle through. Have you played the new
I'd
one?
watch more courtroom TV if they actually did that, though.
I still have not played the new one. I want it though.
It's really good.
You can get it for Wii, right, or Wii U?
No, it's a 3DS.
Oh, that's right. Duh. Yeah, I gotta find my 3DS.
It's really good.
Um, I've heard that.
It's done by a different developer, I think. Because the guy that does Phoenix Wright normally, he was working on Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton.
Oh yeah.
So the game is a little different in like how it plays out, but it's like in a
Mhm.
good way because in Phoenix Wright they had really annoying flags where you'd have to find like a specific piece of evidence, like a small little pixel on the screen, or else you wouldn't be able to progress. And they kind of
yeah.
like got rid of that, which is good. It kind of speeds up the game, but it's not tedious. Like I would have to put Phoenix Wright down because I'm just like, I don't know what they want me to look at, and the logic is so frustrating. I don't even know anymore.
That's the thing, and the first game didn't seem so, but I remember like the second game. There's like a scene where you're trying to there's like a secret marriage.
Yeah.
That and like the witness is like, well, there's something secret, and you want to like give the wedding ring as evidence or the engagement ring, and it's like seems so obvious, but they actually want you to give a different item first, and it's like. I remember being really frustrated there because it's like, look, I know what I'm trying to fucking say here, and I know it'll work.
Yeah, I was just sitting there like, can I please just explain this to you? It makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Or then the judge, for no reason at all, will be like, all right, Mr. Wright, I'm only going to give you one more chance with this evidence. And it's like, this guy has solved like 8 murders in your court. Like, why are you still trusting this Edgeworth dude? It makes no sense.
Like,
or that was fine, whatever. But
whatever, yeah.
Anyway, you should really play the Phoenix Wright stuff, though. It's like amazing.
Yeah, they're really good.
I'll get right on it.
Yeah.
There's also that movie that came out recently enough from Japan. I've heard it's good. I haven't watched
Phoenix
it.
Wright movie?
Yes. It's like really dramatized in a funny way, apparently. So, hey.
Well, that was the kind of neat thing about Phoenix Wright 2 is that, like, it sort of plays with, like, comedy and drama, and it manages to kind of do both.
Yeah, there was a case that actually, like, made me kind of cry. I was like, this is so sad. Why? This is such a stupid game. It shouldn't be making me cry, but I feel very emotional about this.
Well, I remember, like, one of the characters was in jeopardy, and, like, I knew it was, I mean, I kind of knew it was all going to work out, but I'm still like, oh no, like, what's going to happen? Like,
yeah, exactly.
You know, but that was case 1-4, if anybody was curious, because I don't want to spoil it, but...
Everyone knows that, so...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope Hello Winter continues her Let's Play someday, because she was doing a good job with that. We're at just about an hour, which is the time for these podcasts and such. So, anybody else have anything they want to bring up before we call it a day? Good. Sounds good. Okay. Any plugs? Anything like that?
Shadow of Destiny.
Best video game. Please write Konami and ask for a new Shadow of Destiny game so that we can take place in the South.
After Snatcher.
Yes, please.
After Snatcher in the South.
Yes, please.
I am willing to voice act and write for it. You have my contact info.
Awesome. Well,
Woo-hoo!
Hannah, Ike, thank you very much for joining us and helping us understand what the heck was going on with this complicated game at times.
Sure thing. I'm sure there's like plenty of things I didn't explain. But you guys could check out my Let's Play when I make it.
Oh, there you go. Hey.
And there's a secret cutscene that isn't in the game that I'm gonna explain and show.
Oh, a secret cutscene?
Yeah, there's a secret cutscene. Like, there's no video for it, but there's audio. Like, it's scrapped audio.
Oh, no kidding.
Interesting.
Whoa.
Fancy dancy.
It's just Homunculus going, woohoo!
Yeah, it actually is. I would love it if it was that.
Me too. All right. Well, thanks again, friendo.
Sure thing. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on.
Thanks for being had.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.